Good morning. This is Robert Pulse, and you should be seeing my screen now. This is for the 19 October 2023 Zotero for Genealogy SIG for the Muskogee Genealogy Group. Muskogee's website is here. This is about the program today, or about the SIG. I'll be standing in for Linda Morgan Clark until she returns. That's going to be at least 2 meetings. Note that if you didn't get it, and I didn't, 11 October 2023 was the Zotero update. That looked like, oops, I'm sorry. This is the changes they made. And then this is the URL that's connected. This is all in your handout, so you don't have to worry about it. And note if you decide to do that now, I'd be inclined to do so. You'll have to restart your computer, and if you restart your computer, you'll lose your connection to this, so you'll be disconnected for a while. November meeting. November meeting is scheduled for the 16th of November 2023. This is the week before Thanksgiving, so some people may have a conflict with that. We need to do we need a November meeting is the question. I'd like to have a hand count of the group to take and see how many people are going to be able to attend and how many can't. And items that have been removed from the October meeting and moved to the November meeting are how to search, mainly because I asked that question, and I really need somebody that knows how to search to take and do a presentation on that. And related functions and tags. I tried to do a little bit on that, but I wasn't able to take and get much done in the time frame to get for this meeting. If we have a November meeting, what other topics should we have? And then do one of you or two of you want to volunteer to present on each of these topics? I don't claim to be the guru on this subject yet, and I consider us all to be even. If you have, I really would like to have 2 people do each topic so that we could take and have two different perspectives and maybe 2 examples of how people do it. So let's fill in that information. Okay. Items to be covered today. Items to be covered today are going to be understanding attachments and a demonstration how to use Zotero when for my research at the library that I recently did, if we have the time. In the chat will be a handout for the presentation, this presentation. And at the end, I will update it for the November meeting and give you another handout. If I don't do that, remind me. I tend to get involved in these meetings. Okay. Now, the first step on attachments is where I go to for attachments, and it's right here. It's the basics. It's on this page of Zotero that's in your handout, and you just page down the different items. There's tags in here and searchables and stuff like that. And here's attachments. So it has a nice little brief one on attachments. You'll notice that this is underlined. You can click on that and that'll take you to more details. Okay. And so that's where I go. And so that's where I started. So attachments are items that have notes, files, links attached to them. These attachments appear in the middle pane underneath their parent. Middle pane underneath their parent, right there. These are all attachments. Attachments will be shown or hidden by clicking the arrow next to their parent. They're talking about this. See? Goes and comes. Okay. Back to theirs. Okay. Notes are stored on Zotero. Okay. Links are only the link is stored on the Zotero. I call that a light item. Files, if you copy a file to Zotero, then the file goes in. I call that a heavy item because it uses up Zotero storage. If attached, it is stored on your computer and not on Zotero. So if it's attached, it's not stored. It's not stored on Zotero. It's stored on your computer. You need to leave it in the same spot so the link can find it, and you need to leave the name alone. Note the difference in the icons for the two. Okay, now the icons that have the black line at the bottom, this one, and this one, are links. The attachments that have that are solid like this, and this, are items that are stored in Zotero. So you're using the storage. Eventually you'll get to where you're paying. And then this item here was drag and dropped in. So I'll show you how to do that. All right, so let's first start out with an attachment that is a note. So that's a note right here. So you can take and do that several ways. You can take and pick this. You come up here and you can add a child note. And this is a child note. Okay. And there it is. So let's get rid of that down. We've done that. Or you can come up here to this icon right here, and you can add a standalone note. And this is a standalone note. You'll notice that a lot of this presentation is standalone notes. And let's go back. And since, where'd it go? I always have fun with it when I'm doing the presentation to have it disappear like that. Let's try that again. I'll go up here, standalone note. We'll do stand this time and return. And now, let's see. It's probably right there. Okay. I don't know what happened the first time. But we'll move that to trash. Okay, so that's basically the two notes. I think that's the only way to do it. Nope. You can do a child note by coming over here and adding a note. And this will be a child, which is my preferred way of doing it. And I misspelled child. Okay, we've got item to trash. Okay, that's the first one. Okay, the next note that you will want to take and do will be a link. So let's do it, attach a link. Okay, so we're going to do, whoops. Now see, I made a mistake. I'm down here and I'm not on one of the root objects, and it wouldn't let me do it. Okay, now I've got to find a link. So let's go up here and get this link from the Genealogy Society. And back to Zotero. Put the link in there. And say test. Put a title on. There it is. You can see it showed up right here. And there it is. Okay. I'm going to move that to trash. Trying to keep it clean. I'm walking down through my items here. The other way of doing it is if you want to take and put an attachment. Whoops. See, I'm making that mistake again. I make this mistake all the time. Okay. Go up here and you want to attach a file to the Zotero. I'm going to use, since I've used 16 there, 17 in the example, I'm going to use 15 here. And I got a paperclip of a file. There it is right there. Okay, now that's a light one. You can tell by the icon. Now it's gone. Now let's attach a stored copy of the file. That'll be a heavy one. Oops. See, I did it again. I'm not up here. I do it regularly. Stored copy of the file. Let's do 15 again. Open. There it is. And see, it doesn't have that bar down at the bottom of it. So that means it's heavy. Okay. So we've got to move that to trash. Now, the easy way of doing this, I think, you may disagree, is to take a document, and let's take 15 again. We've been playing around with 15. And just moving it over and putting it in Zotero. And there it is. In fact, we got 2 copies of it. And you'll notice that it's heavy. And I don't think I got rid of the other one. There we go. All right. You'll notice it came in heavy. The way you get around that is that you take this and you bring it over to here. And before you release it, you go Control-Shift. And you'll notice it came in light this time. See the little bar right there? It came in light. So that means it's just put a link in there. And it's just linked to the object. It's not stored in Zotero. So you haven't So that's the basic ways of adding an attachment. This whole presentation was built with attachments, as you can tell. So let's say you've got this far and you want to learn more. My next go-to place for learning more is here. We started out here, learned what a general sum of what attachments was, and this is the next move down. You can get to that easily from this page by hitting attachments there, and you come up with this page. Okay. Now let's see. This page is right here. It's this tag under documentation, and it says adding files to your Zotero. Okay. And here's child versus standalone. Here's stored files. Here's linked files. There's files in the browser and files in Zotero window and so on. And then how to access files, which is important. So here are the highlights that I think I got out of that. Child versus standalone files. This is a child file. These are all child files. They're childs of this main item. Versus standalone. Standalone files are these files right here are all standalone. And they're notes and they're standalone. And it's generally a good idea to work with files as child files. Standalone files cannot be used in many of the Zotero features, including citing, publications, and most types of searching. Okay, so you want to take and have child files where you can, and not standalone files. Okay, PDF. You save a PDF directly to your library. Zotero will pick up the metadata from it. And that's what they use as the metadata to take and do the citations. If it can't be recognized, you'll be left with a standalone attachment, and you can add it as a parent by saving an item from the web and dragging the PDF on top of the PDF. Or by right-clicking on the PDF and choosing to create a parent item and entering identifiers such as an ISBN. All else fails, you can click a manual entry after selecting Create Parent Item and manually selecting the metadata for the item. That's a real advanced subject. So if you have a problem with that, we probably need to revisit again. Storage files. Files that are storage files are the default. It's not the default of mine because I've changed we did change settings last week, our last meeting. Stored files then are stored in the directory. So that's what I call heavy files because they put a load in, they use a storage in Zotero. Where links hardly use any storage at all. Zotero will automatically manage them, including deleting them. If you delete the attached item in Zotero, if you use file syncing, Zotero will automatically sync stored files between devices and make them available in your online library. That's very important. If you're going from machine to machine and you use linked files, you may not have access to the links from the second machine if you link them on the first machine, where a storage file moves from machine to machine. If you add storage, so the heavy files move from machine to machine. The light files that I've been calling light files are don't necessarily move from machine to machine. You have to have access to the storage location. If it's on a computer, then you probably don't have access to it on the second machine. If you added a stored file from the file on your computer, the file is opened to the Zotero data directory, so you may wish to delete it from your computer. So that'll be you'll be using up Zotero storage for it. And basically, they're saying you don't want two copies floating around, one in Zotero, one outside of Zotero. The other thing is that when you're using syncing, you can choose to download store files only as needed. That's very important when you're doing when you're syncing to a device that has a limited storage, like an Android pad or something like that. Link files. You cannot use them in groups. They're not synced. We just talked about that. And not deleted if you delete them from Zotero, which is probably a good thing for me. I don't know about you, but I tend to delete things I want later on. Drag and drop. We demonstrated how to do drag and drop. You just grab it in the folder and drag it in there and put it where you want. Files can be copied to your library, but dragging and dropping. Okay. Drag and drop an existing standalone file item in Zotero onto your regular Zotero item to create a child item. I showed you how to do that. By default, files are dragged into Zotero and added as copies of the original files, unless you hold down the Control and Shift, Control plus Shift, and then they're dragged in as links. And I showed you how to do that. And I told you when I was holding down Control and Shift. Okay. This is where I got it right. Accessing files. Okay, I didn't show you how to do accessing files. Okay. Files in your library can be accessed by double-clicking on the item in the center pane. Alternately, you can right-click on the item and select View. So let's take this first one and let's double-click on it. And here it comes. And there it is. Okay. Okay, I'm showing you what's in the paperclip. It's going to be an attachment. Now, it says right-click and show file. It shows where the file is located. I should have right-clicked to see. View file. It said view file, didn't it? There it is. Same file. Now you can take and view the file. This is the same thing. View online. It'll do this. So come up to the browser. And there you go. There's the Muskogee Genealogy Society. Wonder who they are. Okay. So that was accessing the files. Yep, and I showed you how to right click and everything. That's it. Now, advanced questions. When I have advanced questions, and that's sometimes more frequently than I'd like, I go to this page. So I'm not ready for you. You reach this page by going to forums and you put in your question right here. And this, again, this link is in your handout, and it'll take and tell you where the parent is, or what questions have been handled in this area. So if you have an advanced question, you can take and go down through here and see if there's something that's covered it. And on attachments, there's quite a few advanced questions. So there's a lot of work been done there. Okay. All righty. I think, let's see. Oh, problems I encountered. If I removed an item by moving it to the trash or deleting it from a collection during that session, I could not reattach the item to this folder. Now that was before I updated to the October 11th, and I haven't tested it since October 11th. The workaround that I used was to go up here to right here and choose a forum post, and then in a forum post, you've got a URL and you got a title. You could fill this all. You had to fill this all in manually, and that's what I did. Is I filled that in manually. Okay. Okay. And let's go down to problems encountered. The second problem, I could not add an attachment to a freestanding note. Here's a freestanding note. And let's say I wanted to add a child note to that. It wouldn't do it. If I wanted to take and put a link or URL to that, it won't do it. So couldn't do that. I keep trying to add attachments to attachments. Well, that's when I'm like down here and I'm trying to take and add a child note. Well, let me put a child note in there, but it didn't put it in there. And that's the first time it's done that for me, so that's interesting. But I tried to take and do a link. It wouldn't do that. It wouldn't do anything that was in paperclip. And so that's that. And you saw me doing that all through this sample. All right. Are there any questions that anyone wants to ask? That said, I'm going to shut down the video.